Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, bootlicker, shells, death slays, horse, peasants, vassals, minions, meat sacks. I'm Useful Idiot. Welcome. And let's go to Libya by way of the UK. And this story is reaching the headlines now, at least because of this new UK Foreign Affairs Committee report that said that Cameron was, quote, ultimately responsible, unquote, for this debacle in Libya. And of course, as we know in the United States, there's plenty of blame to go around. The United States, and particularly Hillary Clinton, had a lot to do with this clusterfuck that we have in Libya. But at least they came out with a report that was a little more honest, talked about the war there being based on erroneous facts, about protecting civilians that turned into regime change by military means. And I think everyone must be joking to not realize it at the time that they needed this report to spell that out. Of course, anybody paying attention to in any way whatsoever knew that it was a regime change by military means. And then they said that it was ill-conceived. And yeah, it is ill-conceived. But the other part of the story that is interesting, of course, is recently finding out that British Special Forces are once again in operation in Libya. And this brings up a couple interesting things about the UK to bear in mind and why their policies line up so well with the United States. First of all, the UK is not really officially at war with anyone in the world, and yet they have special forces in Ukraine, Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, and Yemen. And they also conduct, of course, their own airstrikes and their own drone strikes. And then we also have the fact that the UK is second only to the US in global arms sales. The United States does about $236 billion a year in global arms sales, and the UK is second with $122 billion a year in global arms sales. And just FYI, Russia is third with $70 billion in global arms sales. But 63% of the UK arms sales went to the Middle East. I'm sure the US ratio is about the same, and most of that to Saudi Arabia. And they have a huge list of countries that aren't necessarily supposed to get a lot of arms, and Saudi Arabia is one of them, and yet they do continue to ship arms to all these countries, 61 different countries in all. But so interesting, we see these British Special Forces pop up everywhere, and now we have not only confirmation that along with everybody else, as all the other countries I mentioned before, including the United States and Jordan, in Israel, in France, and Germany, and who else have special forces throughout this region, and now we're seeing them pop up in Libya. And so the fact that the war was originally ill-conceived doesn't dawn on them that any further interventions in there, like the ones that are going on now, are also ill-conceived. And it's too late. They've opened Pandora's box, and they cannot close it again. So the Libyan clusterfuck will go on. But yeah. God save the Queen, and the UK, a integral part of the empire, exercising bad judgment all over the globe. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.